Oh, and on the big beautiful bill, I'm just going to tell you this. I've wanted to have it out here where we can discuss what's really going on and have all sides of it represented. And I really mean this. I've thought this through. We've heard from Rand Paul. We've had him on the show, and you all know I have tremendous respect for Senator Paul. Even though I feel like sometimes when he calls, he sounds almost like he's bored. He's not he's not a constant party, that guy, but he's uh super smart and I think incredibly principled for a member of the United States Senate. And we always enjoy when he calls in because he has worthwhile things to add to the conversation. Same thing with Senator Ron Johnson. He's a little jolly. Senator Johnson, a little jollier than Senator Paul, but both very high IQ and very high principle individuals. We've heard from them on this issue of the big beautiful bill, and I've seen the Elon stuff. And just based on the immigration provisions alone in the bill, we got to do this thing. In my mind, this is my opinion on this now. I know it doesn't handle the debt the way Elon wants. Elon is not wrong on the numbers. Senators Paul, Johnson, and others, Representative Massey, they're not wrong on the numbers, but we got to do this thing. They may be wrong on the politics of what will happen. Think about what happens to the Trump administration if we hand a massive midterm win to the Democrats in 18 months time, which is I do believe what would happen if you start trying to really, the only way to mess with the spending in a way that matters, to change the spending in a way that matters, is to make the cuts that nobody wants to have happen right now to entitlements. And as Stephen Miller points out, again, I've gone through every stage of this. I've looked at all the arguments. As Stephen Miller points out for the White House, you can't even do the automatic spending changes you would want to do in a reconciliation bill. So now you're talking about a negotiation with Chuck Schumer because of the 60 vote threshold. So unless the argument is we need to nuke the filibuster and ram this thing through and ram through the cuts now and take that political risk right now, this time, I don't really see what else is going to happen here. Unless someone's going to tell me Stephen Miller's wrong, which I would never bet on that one. Wrong on the facts? I don't think so. Not this guy, not in this White House. So I think he's if there's anyone who I think you could take it to the bank when he says, here's the deal, I think Deputy Chief of Staff Miller is that guy. And I also think that everyone's having this out now, which is a good thing. And we're having the discussion about what needs to occur for this to be a big, beautiful bill for a flourishing, booming economy. We have not forgotten about the issue of the debt, but this begins to put into place long-term reforms. You can ease people into this. And look, if we can maintain the House and the Senate in the midterms, Trump is not going to be, as much as he likes to poke the Democrats, he's not running for a third term. And so he will be in a position then, I think, to tell everybody, look at this amazing economy I've given you. Now is the time when we can actually have a really serious conversation about changing some of that. And it's not about cutting anyone's Medicare today or changing anyone's Social Security today. It's when I'm ready for Social Security in 20 years, basically, there will be some changes that will have been enacted. People my age can make the sacrifice for the country of, hey, we have to have a different pathway here, a different footing. If that means we're changing some of the tax code, there's a whole conversation there. But that's what it's about. And I think Trump will be in that position to make that case. So I think that's really important. Also, on the trade deficit issue, remember, we were told that there was going to be a massive a massive stock market crash / economy was going to be a mess. And the truth is that has not happened. And one thing that I believe should get a lot more attention than it does is what the trade negotiations that Trump has engaged in, what they have done so far for the economy. This is cut one. Here is CNBC's Rick Santelli talking about the trade deficit. And I want you to listen to him. This is the numbers. We'll talk more about these numbers, but listen to this. Play cut
On
one.
the trade balance, and do remember, last week's advance only included goods. This one includes goods and services, comes in at minus 61.6 billion. That's about 5 billion less than we were expecting in terms of the deficit, but it does follow a revised 138 billion with a minus sign that was 140 billion, and that of course was an all-time record trade balance of goods and services. And as you can see, it has now been cut by more than half, and the big drop in imports seems to be where everyone's pointing. The big news there is how much it bolsters GDP. Just look at Atlanta Fed GDP now, which is at 4.64%.
U.S. trade deficit fell to $61 billion, cut by more than half compared to March's. So this is, month to month. March is $138 billion, bolstering GDP. Almost, sorry, I told you, I did warn you guys. I had to talk so much yesterday and everything else. This is where the extent of my vocal cords. Clay and I are vocal cord athletes, as you know. We've got sexy vocal cords. Our vocal cords have six packs, but even that can run. We can be run ragged, too much. But here's the point about where we are in these trade negotiations and what's actually happening. The things that Trump said would happen are happening, and the catastrophists and the people who said they knew better and were smarter were wrong. I think this also ties into the reason to pass the big beautiful bill, because he's earned when Trump says this is awesome, it's going to be amazing for the economy. Why would I sit there and say no, it won't? Think about that for a moment. I mean, there would be a degree of hubris that I think would be required of somebody in my position who's trying to inform all of you and have this ongoing conversation with all of you across this nation, to think that I know better in this moment than Trump on this issue, given what is happening. Now, I will always criticize an administration if I think they err on an issue where I feel passionately that they may be taking us in the wrong direction, but it's like the guy who has the hot hand on the basketball court and just has hit 4 3-pointers in a row. Should I let him take the next shot, or do I want to, is it my turn? I mean, if he wants to take the shot, I think he should take the shot. And that's what we see right now with Trump on not just the trade negotiations, talking to China about it, I might add, but also on the direction of the economy right now. And we're just beginning to see it. We're only 6 months into this administration. They have packed so much into such a short period of time. And it is way more than what Trump accomplished in the first 6 months of his first term, which makes sense. He knows more now. He's got the team in place now. And that was really good. But this is a whole other level. They're moving on so many fronts. And remember that phrase when he said you're going to get tired of winning? We're certainly not tired of winning yet, but we could see, I think, how that could be a thing by the end of this administration. Like, oh my gosh, we need the opposition to get a win just so we remember that there is an opposition. I mean, Trump is doing great things. Now, I know about the judicial supremacy stuff, seizing executive authority, shutting down Trump. We're going to talk about some more of that. There are certainly pitfalls and challenges and everything. I'm not euphoric right now about everything that's going on with Trump, but I'm trying to look at this with clear eyes, and I'm trying to come away with the best possible assessment of what we should do now and what the country should do now moving forward on this. I think Trump knows what he's doing with this. I think the people that are pushing this bill know what they're doing with it. And there's a lot of reason right now for, you can be optimistic, but stay focused. And that's how I feel for the country right now. I am optimistic, truly, and have been all along since Trump came into office. And I also, though, I want them to keep going. I want them to keep moving the way that they are, pushing on all fronts. And we'll get into some of this. We'll get into the travel ban. We'll get into from certain countries. We'll get into the next steps here on the big, beautiful bill. Also, what I think is a very important win in the Supreme Court, 9-0 win, I might add. 9-0 win that's going to have some real ramifications that will affect all of us in this country. So I'll tell you what that is coming up. When President Trump signed an executive order last month slashing the cost of prescription drugs, he wasn't messing around. He wants the same prices you might find in Canada or throughout Europe. even when that fair pricing kicks in. It's not going to help improve what you are now getting with Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. It's anything but affordable, as you know, and there are much better options. I know you know that. You're like, Buck, there's better options than Obamacare? Yeah, we know it. Well, let's talk about one. Let me introduce you to a healthcare alternative called Ease for Everyone. Compared to Obamacare, Ease for Everyone comes with a monthly cost as low as $262. You get access to over 400 prescription drugs for free. They're not just at a lower cost, but no cost, $0. And unlike all the broken promises of Obamacare, you can keep your doctor. Ease for Everyone provides free, unlimited virtual primary care. Go online today, give this a look, and use Clay's name when you do so. That's Ease, E-A-S-E, easeforeveryone.com/Clay. One more time on this website, Ease, E-A-S-E, Ease for F-O-R, easeforeveryone.com/Clay.